Go away, Clang. Go away. Oh, fuck. Whoa, fuck. Fucking hell. Oh, good lord, that's gonna kill someone. Bye bye. Okay, guys, I'm sure you can tell from the start of the video that my original plan for giving an easy way to sort of do a 3D printer didn't quite go to plan. Clang struck, and somewhere there is 438 welders in orbit, possibly crashing down. They were kind of going towards our base on the planet, so yeah. Okay, so plan two. Now this setup that I've done here will not actually build this entire ship that I've got out here. This is more anything for demonstration, because the way this ship is set up, it kind of demonstrates why there's this funkiness on the front of the welders here. Sorry, no, I'll just get out of here and fly. Okay, so the thing is oh, I'll keep my jetpack on. These welders will weld in an area of effect, and they will weld below them and above them and things like that. So the problem is you kind of have is that if you say, for example, I mean, like, the ideal way to do this is, as you can see here, is there's a block here and a block here that we could potentially weld, and we couldn't weld any of these. Now, what we want to do really is to kind of go this line here and just sort of go downwards. The problem is if it's welding stuff that's below it, so you've got the welders here. I don't know if you can see this very well. You see there's a slanted block here, but if the welders start going down and welding below them, there is, for example, we're actually inside it here, a large storage container which would cause problems, or large cargo container. Now, in the original video, you'll notice as well that there was basically this being built, which is the huge Futtermucker. That was originally meant to be a mothership. And the reason I was trying to rebuild it is there was this weird thing is that I would land like a tiny little ship on it and it wouldn't be able to move. Originally we thought it was something to do with this ship specifically, like there was something to do with the ownership. After a lot of testing, that didn't work out. So really, this is more a sort of tutorial on how to do this rather than something about building a massive ship, because to be honest, too many welders causes a real big problem for the server. Right, so just to demonstrate how fast what these welders will build, if I go into here, turn the welder on, as you see, they will build below them, and that's a bit of a problem. That's why I have that weird shield on the front there. Okay, so the setup here is basically I've got a projector, and this one here, I was trying to zoom out to the point where it's not going to. Here we go. Right, so if I press 4 and 5, as you can see, it goes back and forth, 6 and 7, 8 and 9. Now on this screen here, what I've done is I've divided all of the pistons up into groups of piston forwards, piston up, and what happens is as you can see, those two there, I've set the speed to as low as possible, and I've got basically on off, reverse, on off and reverse. So I need to get these pistons in the right place. So if I now say, for example, set the forward pistons to on and reverse them, as you'll see, they are extended out now. Now you kind of only want to do one set of pistons at a time, as I will demonstrate what happens if we do that. Clang starts to strike. Yeah. And if you don't know who Clang is like the mythical creature that destroys things, because when something goes wrong in Space Engineers, that's the noise he makes. Let's be honest here. Especially with pistons. Well, no. Pistons, kind of okay. It's just, yeah, it'd be nice if you could like have multiple of them all connected. Well, connected, and they didn't do what they're about to do here. Rotors, though. They're fun, aren't they, rotors? Anyway, so I haven't actually made this big enough, as you can see, to build the entire ship that I've got here. This really was demonstration. I plan to build a much bigger one on this, maybe a little bit more stable. I don't know what to do with that, to be honest. Right, so there we go. Let's extend this out here. Now, if you've never used a projector before, basically you can't actually build anything unless it's connected to what the projector is connected to. So if you've got a station, you've got the connector, the projector on there, you need to have like this framework that I've built here. Right, so this is almost at the point here. Another thing here is the reason I'm kind of doing this. I mean, this may seem kind of self-explanatory to anyone who's ever used these before. But for anyone who's not used them, it is quite an outlay to try and build a system like this. I am luckily on a server with a group of friends, and we've kind of got to the point where we've got loads of stuff. For example, I built the huge father mucker. Right, so now when I get this to here, we kind of want we want to have whatever we're building needs to be orientated either in front of or below. So basically we want these blocks here, the yellow blocks underneath the welders, just to prevent it from building anything. So we kind of want to go from top down. So let's raise this up a bit all the way, and go. Ideally, I should have really built some blocks above them as well. But this may come back to bite me in the arse, but we'll see. Right. Let's just make sure they are occupying any space. There we go there. Turn them off. Right. As you can see, that is fairly nice and easy to do. And what we're going to do is just start bringing those. Is it going up? Oh, there we go. Start bringing those down. You know what? Before we do that, what I am going to do is, because I am paranoid that causing problems for the blocks above, I'm just going to build a little construction up here to stop them messing themselves up. The first ever time I sort of did one of these is I had a real problem of I kept getting them stuck, and this is like, you kind of think, well, if I'm building something, I don't want all these blocks here causing problems, but actually it won't try and build anything that's occupied by something on the station. So we'll just do that and just make sure they're connected nice and securely. So we'll just do that. Right, okay. What colour was that? Okay. It's black for a minute. There we go. And there we go. Right, okay. Now, there we go, built those above us. Alright, so let's start bringing these blocks down. I think we've got a few more to do there. And there we go, starting to build. Now you can see that radius of what they've got for building there is that, you know, that was well out of range, and well out of range of directly in front of, it was pretty much diagonal. So there we go. As you can see, this is quite a nice, easy, relaxed way to do this. It's just basically set yourself up some pistons in 2 axes. Now, I mean, obviously you would need to make sure that you haven't got a 3rd axis on this, so I can only go forwards and up, for example. But as long as you made the sort of the stretch of welders big enough, it really wouldn't be a problem. So there we go. Got the welders there. We will turn those off, turn those on, and bring it backwards. A little bit of shaking about, but that's not too much of a problem. Right. Oh, look at that shaking. Right, so while that, have I what I've done there is I haven't turned them off. Right, so let's bring them back. Right, so while those are stopping shaking, now that is kind of the downside of it if you move it around too much. I will just explain what's on here. Basically, on this platform, all I have is a refinery, an assembler that's got 4 productivity modules on it, 2 large containers, 2 small reactors, I only need 1 really, and stuff that I forgot to get rid of. Projector and this sort of line of conveyors and pistons, and essentially it's all just connected up, and it allows, what I did was I just set like thousands of, as you see how many times I've died. I will say this is when it's shaking about, don't go near it, it will kill you. As you see, I just built thousands of pretty much every type of component, and yeah. So let's go back to this. Right, so and if we start bringing it upwards, we've basically got a functional 3D printer here. Now obviously, if you want to build any, I mean, this is not, the ship that you see I'm building here is not even a particularly big ship. So you would want a bigger setup than this. But as long as you've got the pistons moving relatively slowly, and if, for example, you wanted a really long extension on the pistons, you could set them up in groups. So you could have like sort of, you know, maybe 3 together in every group. There we go. And that, I mean, I know it's not the fastest in the world, have to sort of stop for any sort of jerking about or anything like that. But as you can see, I mean, this is a lot faster than I could potentially do. I don't have to sort of go back and forth. It is, it's nice and good for someone who's lazy like me. Right, so if I turn that off, then we'll just bring it back to the next row. And start bringing it down. I've got to say, it is extremely satisfying when you're doing this as well. Not gonna lie. So, right, guys, there we go. That is a basic functional 3D printer. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish off the ship just so you can see that this method of having the sort of grill around it that stops it causing any problems works perfectly fine. See, there should be in there in a minute. So those are done. Turn that off, bring that back, and we just see it going back upwards again. So I'll just press 4 there to reverse the up down. Right at that point there, we'll bring it back a little bit more, don't really want it smacking into it, and then we'll start raising it up again. Now I could probably actually set these a lot faster than here. So there you go, you can see in there, so let me just stop moving. You can see that what I've just built inside there is this large cargo container, and what I'll do is at the end of this video I'll just leave a little clip so you can see what happens. Oh, it's moving upwards still. I forgot to turn it off. Oh good god. There we go. I'll do a little clip of, I'm going to take this apart afterwards, and or maybe just fly it off, and I'll start building it again, but I won't do it with this grill on the top, and you'll be able to see what the effect is if you don't have that and what potentially can go wrong. So anyway, let me just finish this off real quick. So let's take it back down. Okay, it probably helps if I actually have steel plates in stock to build what I need to build. So stinking smooth. So this is another thing to be really careful of. You do need to make sure you've got enough components in to build what you need to build. So if we have a look in here, So I'm going to have to leave that on for a while. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and take this all apart, and I will show you what happens when you don't have that sort of grid on the front and what can potentially happen. Okay guys, so that is just like a demonstration of what happens. As you can see there, it kind of went funky immediately, and that's just all you need is just a line of the blocks along the top and the bottom just to stop it doing it directly above and below it. It's okay if it goes on a diagonal as long as it's not directly above and below it. Anyway, I hope that was useful for you. What I'm going to do in the next video is I'm actually going to automate this so you can just walk away and leave it to go. Hope you've enjoyed that. Hope that's useful. You've been thinking about 3D printers or sort of using projectors. Hopefully that gives you some ideas. Have fun. Catch you soon.